All right, we live. We live. Seed talk. Stuff to make your seeds walk. Um. So yeah, it's gonna go down this episode. You already know. We talking about Will Smith. Will Smith. Will Smith smacking Chris Rock at the Oscars. Let's tag some people because I got a lot of questions around this. Because when we're talking about seed talk, I usually do things that are in pop culture, but those are just examples of what's happening in our real lives. You know what I mean? And I think this brings up a lot of topics about relationships. How do you protect, your significant other? What's appropriate? What's not appropriate? What you do in public? Um, Even the whole thing with Jada and her condition. What's funny, what's not funny. That keeps coming up on Seed Talk, of course. So let's tag some people. I know Precious. How many pages did you say you had? I know you said you typed up a whole page because you said you want to do a segment.
Because I had to put all my thoughts in because that's why I said this
Get what
situation
you
has so
wanted
many
to
layers.
say tonight.
Huh?
And so I'm gonna let you take the lead first, and I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna facilitate stuff because I got my notes in my head. I got some notes on a piece of paper. But most of my stuff is in my head, and I think I'm gonna have some notes on paper once you get started. But I feel strongly about this.
All
I'm
right.
gonna say this. I feel really strongly about this on so many different levels. And I think I'm gonna say something that is gonna surprise y'all. And I don't think it's been touched on. I've been up and down my timeline. I've been on social media, and I'm gonna let Precious start and let Doc, chime in. But I really think that we're missing a major thing, and I want to see what y'all think. Y'all probably gonna say it, but I haven't heard it said yet.
Oh yeah,
So
and I'm definitely going to end it on something I kind of thought about it at the towards the end, like probably a few hours ago. I kind of came to the conclusion about something too about this whole thing, but I say it when I'm done.
okay,
All right.
well, let's get into it. Like, what are your thoughts about Chris Rock slapping? No,
Yeah.
getting slapped
Well,
Smith. What do you think about that? And let's transition to what does that mean about relationships? How do you defend the honor of your loved one in public? What does that look like? Is it appropriate to put your hands on people when they're just saying words? Like, when is too many words too many? And it's like, you gotta get these hands. You gotta catch these hands like, what I'm saying, a room full of clocks. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, because he slapped the crack rock out of Chris Rock.
And
I mean,
the
he
thing about it, everyone
slaps.
was done. No one saw that come. Like that's okay. Go never mind.
Uh,
listen, and then I also want to
I
talk
think you
about
could.
also this is what I also want to talk about. And I want to give this somewhat of a credence and discuss it lightly. Some people think it was staged.
That's a hell of a stage. Like why would you do? I mean,
Hey, they're both actors, aren't they?
I don't look here. I don't put it past Hollywood. I don't put it past Hollywood at all.
He forgot what he was going to say. I don't think it was stay. He
Yeah,
like the words he said afterwards was like his
I don't know.
mind was wait what?
but you can act that out too. But I'm with Precious. I'm not putting nothing by. Like, wouldn't the joke, no pun intended, wouldn't the joke really be on us? I mean, because it's self-explanatory, right? It's an Oscar for best awards for films and movies that is dependent on acting.
I don't know if they're saying that the Oscars reviewing to take his Oscar away, which I find would be bullshit if they do that, considering all the foolishness that many Hollywood actors have done that just wasn't on national TV. So I don't know if they are going through all that. They sure wasting up resources.
Well, let me. And here's another thing. So the Oscar Academy, whatever you want to call it, the board, whatever, the authority figure said they tried to remove Will, but he wouldn't move and he wouldn't leave. Okay, I don't know a venue that I've ever been to that is to be respected, recognized, and celebrated and prestigious, especially the Oscars. I've never been to a venue where you can put your hands on someone and you don't have to leave the venue. I've never experienced that. And
I know I have.
Especially in a setting full of white people. And it's only very little white black people.
And let me add this too. It don't matter if you want to leave or not. I've never been to a venue where it matters if you want to leave or not. No, you got to leave. That's what security is for. So I don't know, man. It just, to me, it doesn't matter if it was staged or not, because this stuff happens in real life, and we're gonna get into that. But go ahead, Precious. I'm gonna tag some people while you talk.
Oh yeah, only was able to get a lot little people. That's I shoot. Because you call my name, and I shoot. Gotta pay attention. All right, let me go ahead and get to it. This has really got so many layers to it. That's why I was like, I had to write this down because so many layers that I was seeing. And I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all know right up front. I'm not gonna even touch on the comedy aspect of this. The reason why I'm not going to, because based off the posts, the posts, the comments, the TikTok videos, and vice versa, very little people was defending Chris Rock from an angle of comedy. I would say maybe 20-30% for what I've seen. And I'm being real generous with that percentage, by the way. I'm being very generous because I saw those type of comments far in between. But my personal opinion for what I've been seeing, the heat that the public has for Will Smith is not in the name of comedy. It wasn't in the name of comedy. But it damn sure was in the name of Jada. And that's where the problem come in at. Now, before I get into it, it's going to come off, this may trigger some people. If you're not black, I don't want you commenting. You can sit back and watch, but I don't want you commenting.
Yeah. I feel that.
This ain't really your battle here. You got bigger fish to fry. Don't worry about this here.
I hear you on that.
So I'm just going to go ahead and just keep it a whole 100. You can watch and listen, but that's all you can do in this one.
And they're going to wonder why they can't. But I have a right. It was on a white show, and
they could wonder all day. They could ponder. Just don't say nothing on the comment on this situation.
Okay.
So let me just say this.
I respect that.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I'm gonna start with this one. Will Smith is not a stereotypical black man. Let's just say, for instance, this happened in real.
Ooh, Precious.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
I would disagree. I'll disagree there, but
hold on.
He represents a demographic.
Wait. Precious. Okay. Wait. No, she might have a point though, Doc. You said a stereotypical.
Yes. In terms of what we do in a negative sense.
Depends which stereotype, but okay.
Just see where I'm going with it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Let's see where I'm going with this. Yes, he is. Yes, of course he's here, but not in the way I'm about to explain it to you. Now, we already know what transpired at the Oscars. I was stunned when I saw it because whoever thought the Golden Boy of Hollywood would ever done something like that on screen, stage or not. I mean, he probably could have. I mean, that's up for debate. Well, no one will ever expect Will Smith to go put his hands on anybody. I mean, we seen slaps that do, but other than that,
did you read his book?
It came up to me as a very unproblematic person for the most part. I rarely hear about Will Smith in a scandal.
The whole first on Viv thing, and if you read his book, I think
I haven't read his book.
He's a ticking time bomb. This was a matter of time.
I haven't read his book. I haven't read his book.
Yeah, me too.
I have not read
this was going to happen.
I'm talking about in terms of Hollywood, what we perceive him in the media. I'm not sure his person. I haven't read his book.
He cried when he was talking to Aunt Viv and apologized. So all that evil stuff that she was claiming he did behind the scenes, he has been problematic for. It's like
I'm talking about in terms of imagery.
That wasn't a good look for him.
I'm pretty sure some drama with Vivian, but
that wasn't a good look.
One. So that slap wasn't warranted. That slap wasn't required. But let's go and extract that out the equation. Besides the slap, why so many people got an issue with Will Smith defending his wife? Last I Check, I thought that's what you do in a marriage. Yeah, you defend your spouse no matter what. At least that's what I've always been under the impression. But everyone's core values is different. And what am I say? Regardless of what people think of Jada and her personal choices, at the end of the day, that's still his wife. And as a husband and a loved one, he has the right to choose how and when he wants to defend his loved one. Now, we can say he could have resolved in a different way, perhaps so. But honestly, considering what they said about them over the past couple of years, about their personal life, I do kind of think Will Smith was kind of in a lose-lose situation. Because let's just say he didn't say anything at all, and he never got up. Something tell me he still would have got clowned for not saying anything. Because that's just kind of, I've noticed no matter what we trying to do, when people got their opinion and fixate on it, no matter what we do, it's going to be a problem regardless. Now, this is the part where I say that Will Smith is the reason why I think people now view him as a stereotypical black man, because many people, especially in our society, at least in our community, they find it a hard time that Will Smith will allow his wife to have full autonomy of herself within their marriage. And what I mean by that is, if they in this perceived open marriage, that means they kind of look at each other as on equal ground. She does her thing and he does his, if that's what it seems to be. That's why, whereas the stereotypical black man view his marriage or her core value based on European values. That his wife is not allowed to do no such thing. She ain't allowed to be on talking about any sort of thing, come on public and talk about their marriage. The stereotypical black man is not going to go for that. They find it disrespectful. That's why you hear people say, well, Jill should have had Jada in check. Check for what? That's his partner. She ain't no child. So that's what I mean by he's a stereotypical black man. They look at him as less than because they feel he allowed Jada to do whatever she wants. And I don't think that's that. I think that's just the institution of their eccentric marriage. What I agree with that or not, it doesn't matter. That's how they view their marriage. Go ahead, Logic.
No, I feel you when you say stereotypical. I will say that because
that's what I mean.
I think Doc understands that too. I'll let her chime in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean.
That is a stereotype of black men, that we follow the lead of European value systems, and that we try to be like the white man, control our women, make sure they do this, that, and the third. You got to protect and provide for them.
Yeah, that's the aspect I'm speaking of. Not understood that y'all probably were thinking at first. No, that's not what I was referring to. It's particularly that. Because let's keep it real. The Black society put Will and Jada on such a high pedestal, which I tell people stop doing that shit, but people do whatever they want to do. They put on such a high pedestal and how they want to mirror their marriage or relationship, that when they finally realize what they really are, it shattered that fantasy. And they pissed about it. Because that's not what their core values is based on. So that's why they feel Will is, well, they want to question his manhood in terms of Jada, which I find stupid because, again, that's their institution of marriage. Now let me go ahead and continue.
Okay, go ahead. Wait, let me ask you quick before you continue. Do you want us to chime in?
Sure, you can chime in.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Don't put me talking. I can have a break.
Wait, hold on, Doc. I think Doc, because I know you chomping at the bit. I got it first. Hold on. I think this is what we should do. I think we should let Precious get her rocks off for
oh boy,
for lack of a better term. Sorry.
I'm gonna have to take notes.
Chris Rock, get her rocks off.
Boy.
Listen, I think we should let her get her rocks off, and then you can chime in, and then I can chime in based off the points she makes, because I like what she's doing here. It's good.
Okay, so I guess I'm leading this.
So I gotta take notes now.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Take notes, because I took a lot of it. That's why I had to put this down, because I will forget. All right, y'all want to say at a time and place for everything. Let me ask y'all this. Why do you need a time and place to defend your loved ones? What time is that exactly? What place do you want this to occur? Because last I checked, we didn't need a time and place to defend George Floyd. Oh, no, we didn't need a time and place for that. Just like we didn't have a time and place when that white woman made her little joke towards Serena Venus Williams when she was accepting that award. We didn't need a time or place for that. She got caught up on site, basically. She may not got it publicly on the stage, but she definitely caught that heat.
Okay.
That made her retract her response. So with that way I look at it, time and place, I could go ahead and let you know what the time and place is. The time is right on time and the place is on site. I don't need a time or place to pick when and when not to protect or defend a loved one. That's just, I don't know. That's just how I roll. Now, here's the one. And y'all going to hate me for this one. Y'all going to hate me for this one. We're saying violence is not the answer. Now, I've been hearing that saying for 31, going on 32 years I've been on this earth. How long y'all going to keep saying that violence is not the answer when we still haven't found a new answer? Yeah, no. I'm not comparing to Joe. I'm saying, how are we going to pick and choose a time to defend and protect a loved one?
Okay, Precious, you messing around.
That's not about Joe, but I'm saying y'all want to pick and love.
You did compare the joke to George Floyd, man.
I'm not comparing a joke. I'm talking about how we defend a loved one, not a joke. But anyways, here it is. What is the other answer? If violence is not the answer, what is the other answer?
I have so many answers for you on that one, but go ahead.
Okay. What chime in?
No,
and what has this new answer done for our community? What has that gotten us as a community? What is that new answer? Does anybody have a new answer?
I do.
I mean, we can say communication, sure.
I do. And I wanted to keep decorum because I wanted you to finish the plan. But all right, I will say this: it was backwards. His math was off. You don't smack someone and then say, keep my wife's effing name out your mouth. That's backwards.
Right.
I thought he said it first before he walked up.
No.
You say, you give them a warning first and be like, you know how we are. Cousin, hey, look, cousin. Yes. Hey, homeboy, look. And then give them that look like, okay, I'm going to fall back. You don't smack someone first.
Right.
So that is the answer to violence. Violence is a warning shot, like with your mouth, verbal judo. That would be my answer for that.
Particularly since this was a comedian.
Because why like he said, keep my day he went up there, smacked, and they came and said it again. I thought he heard it say like 3 times.
No, he screamed afterwards. That's the problem. And even when you look at it, he was doing the walk of, I mean, if you know the walk, when somebody's about to come up and kick your A. Well, when he was walking, he had the walk, the whole strut of, I'm going to come up here to start something.
Okay, because the video was showing to me, it sounded like he was saying all that first the day he got up.
He did this walk. I don't know if this is being in school. The walk of, I'm coming to start something. And Chris completely missed that cue, because if somebody's walking directly towards you, you know you're supposed to be the host or saying something. Someone's walking towards me, I'm either going to move to the side or think, oh, you're coming up to hug me or something. But no, he did the walk of authority. And so I'll jump in for one part. So for people thinking that this was about like Will establishing his masculinity and he's defending her. Okay, I'm from New Orleans in LA. A man slapping another man isn't about establishing masculinity, because stereotypically a man slapping another man, it would be like he's going up there to punch him, not slap him. He also didn't give him a warning to say what he was doing that was problematic. It was just, I'm coming up to slap you. Maybe
okay. The way that I was seeing it first, it seemed like he was saying it first. I'm not sure because the cut scenes how they edited it.
Yeah,
because that's the way it looked like to me that he said that first. I was like, wait, what?
He didn't say anything. It was quiet, and he even said, "Oh, Will Smith is walking towards me" or something.
I saw when I first saw.
Doc, remember Precious? He laughed first.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I was like,
And that's also why I've slightly modified my opinion on this, because of remembering that Chris Rock has, what is it, nonverbal learning disorder. And one of the things, I'll read the list with nonverbal learning disorder, that he said back in like September that he had this. They miss social cues such as facial expression, tone of voice, making it hard for them as children to make or keep friends, and also as adults because they miss social cues. They have to verbalize things to understand them. So say things like, oh, this person's walking towards me, so that they process that information. And they also say they're clumsy. They take things literally and struggle with metaphors. So he was diagnosed with this as an adult. So he probably missed a lot of cues there. And well, for me, because I'm usually not the biggest Chris Rock fan, but it kind of explains his career to me. Like some of the things are like, okay, that's nice, but you can stop now, or missing social cues. But because of all of that, then I'm thinking it was, a combination of several things. So she has her medical disorder with alopecia. He has nonverbal learning disorder. They're at the Academy Awards, and Will, who, if you read his book, like I said earlier, if you read his book and you realize all that's been going on, he was a time bomb. So maybe we should also be thinking that mentally there's something going on with him as well to do this. So all three of them have issues that we're ascribing different values. And then I think, as Black women, we're ascribing value of, yay, you're in like two camps. Either, yay, a Black man stood up for a Black woman, because we're not getting that, or that's terrible that he did that, because they know the man that they're with isn't going to do that for them in any situation. So to make it seem like, see, we shouldn't expect that. So we're all throwing in our own personal issues into what's going on with them, but they're all three of them are going through something.
that's what we look at. Okay.
Precious, you got some other points?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to do halftime then, because
we fast forward to that part then, because the way that the camera looked to me when I first saw it air, it seemed like he said it first before he went up there. So that's why I've been under the impression, like, what the world?
If you look at it again, when he's screaming about keep your, and you look at Lupita's face behind him, then you realize it was after. It's when he came back. Everyone like, okay, what's going on? So it was when he walked and he sat back, and when he walked back, he did the walk of authority back, and then he sat down and he laid back like this.
So basically, it was just on impulse that he just walked up there. Then
time bomb.
Time bomb. Okay, yeah. Okay.
And it sounds like, from an educator standpoint, it sounds like Chris Rock may be on the spectrum a little bit. Like if he's not picking up on social cues and whatnot, that's he might be on the spectrum. He
said he had nonverbal learning disorder, which it sounds, a lot of the characteristics sound like spectrum, but he said that he was diagnosed as an adult with it, and that was back in September.
Yeah. So here's I got so much to say. So I'm
go ahead and go then. I can take a pause.
Yeah, we're gonna take a pause and I'm gonna come back. AC Soul said, if Joe Rogan was there and did that joke, Will would have kept his butt in the seat. He would have picked up on he picked on Chris because he's small, he's a coward. Now, here's the first thing I want to say. I had to reflect on this from my marriage and my dating experience. Okay. So I was married for 12 years. I've been single for about 11. And I'm not saying, listen, I'm not saying I'm some tough guy or anything like that. I think I got think twice size. What I call think twice is, yeah, I could probably beat him up. I could probably beat Logic up, but it's probably going to be really hard. You know what I'm saying? Or my demeanor is like, I make people think twice. Like, nah, bro, it's not going to happen. I've never been in a situation where my date or my wife, or the woman I should say, or the woman I was married to, was insulted in front of me. That's never happened.
Many times. Many does. Wow.
It's never happened. The
Mhm.
closest it's ever happened was like a family member, like the woman I was married to, her brother, and then I had to call him afterwards and be like, "Look, bro, if you ever do that, look, here's the deal." And it was like on some, it was just like on some family stuff. Like, bro, I know what you was doing, but I've never had any. Like, for instance, there's no one who's ever done that joke that Chris did, to Will's wife or Jada in front of me. It just has never happened. It's never happened. For a matter of fact, most people don't even say things to my face. They say things behind my back for whatever reason. So I think that speaks a lot to what Trisha was saying about Will Smith. And if you read his book, like I have, he is a self-declaimed coward. And he has ego problems. He says he has serious ego problems. He has a problem with with Jada's prior relationship with Tupac. He has a lot of problems with that. He talks about how his ego and him being a coward, not protecting his mother from
his dad,
is a big deal.
I did hear about that.
So when we go back, and here's the thing, one of the things that I want to say that might shock people is I don't think he was protecting Jada. I think he was protecting his ego. I think he's a coward because he says he's a coward. I'm going to believe that man. If he self-diagnosed himself as a coward and has ego problems, I think he was tired of people making fun of him. And that was a knock on him. He tells a story in his book. He tells a story about one of Jada's birthdays. And he has this elaborate birthday celebration for Jada. He invites all these people. He has this huge party. He has this like montage of pictures that you can walk through with roses and all that. And everyone's like, oh, what a husband. Oh, what a husband. What a guy. This, that, and the third. And then after the birthday celebration, feel me? Jada's just kind of like, and he's like, what's wrong? He's like, you're such an egomaniac. And he's like, what? He's like, he gave her no input on her own birthday. He had like day 2, 3, or 4 set up. She said, I'm not going to day 2. And he was so confused. And that's the moment that I saw there at the award show. It was like, I'm doing this for me and my ego because you guys have always punked me. He talks about in his book how people were like, and I'm sorry, I'm not spoiling the book, but how people were like, oh, Will's so soft. He's so corny. Listen to his raps. Parents just don't understand. I think I could beat Mike Tyson. The song about Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy Krueger, like, you're corny. And he was rapping in the 90s when there was gangster rap. He felt so disrespected. So disrespected.
That's what I mean by he came off as an unproblematic because he was very clean about it, and people looked at that. Oh, he ain't no damn, he ain't nobody, he ain't no real G. That's why I was saying he's looked at as a unproblematic black male in Hollywood.
So, what? And then okay. So then here's the other thing. Let's bring this up. Like he becomes perfect fodder and ammo to be embarrassed. So that's why I was like, man, is this a combination of this is really who he is? Is it really staged? I mean, he's on Red Table Talk crying as Jada feels, tells the public in front of everybody, millions of people, right? How she feels about their marriage. And then the August Alsina thing. You know what I'm saying? A friend of their son has it's still an affair, even though if it's an open marriage or not, it's still an affair. It's a fling. She didn't marry the young man. And so then, people are making fun of him on that too. So my thing is, Will did that for him. I don't think he did it for her. I think he slapped Chris to defend his ego because he thinks he's a coward, and now he can set himself straight. Like, hey, remember the dude on the on the red carpet, the white dude that came up to him years ago and kissed him on the cheek?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Smacked him too. It's like he's always trying to prove himself. But here's another thing that I want to say before Precious goes on. Jada has said that she's proud of her bald head. She said that y'all can say whatever y'all want. I don't give a damn what y'all say about my bald head. It's beautiful.
Did she say that prior or after the Oscar?
Prior.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. She did.
Because I don't watch the Red Table Talk or again, I don't follow them that closely because they're saying how she's insecure about her.
Before you go any further, we talk about Will and Chris and Will and Chris, like, but no one's really asked Jada how she feels about the situation. Because to me, if she was insulted and embarrassed, which it looked like she was, that's what really matters to me. She was the target.
Yeah, she was. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just because she said that she's proud of it, the look and everything that she gave at that moment, so that, well, maybe she still has some insecurities. We also forget the fact that both of their children were there too. So they may also have wanted to, I don't want to say, been embarrassed for them as well, because the whole family gets attacked from the general public for a different variety of reasons. So I guess, like you were saying, it was more about, when I thought about it later, that it was about his ego. That's why he chose a slap versus standing up with your wife and leaving and screaming F you and leaving. That would have, hey, no hands, you've made your point. You've irritated or changed Chris's mind that maybe they could have stood up and left. I mean, they were invited by the Academy to be there, of course, because he was, one of the nominees. So if they would have stood up and left or even pretended like they were going to leave, but no, he had to go through the whole motion of going to slap a grown man and not even tell him why you're slapping him until you go back and you sit down.
And yeah. I just think that he could have just threw a warning shot out there, like, "Hey, man, watch your mouth." And for most people who don't think they're a coward, they say it with enough confidence, like, "Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Say something else, And then, you know what I'm saying? AC Saul said the Oscars hires comments for a reason, and Chris was just doing his job. He wasn't just doing his job. I disagree. I think he went out of his way. Because I'm a stand-up comedian. You got to go out of your way to make fun of people in the crowd.
You really do. And it's
on top of that, I read something that wasn't even a part of the original routine when they practiced.
It was not.
So I disagree with that. He wasn't just doing his job. He went out of his way to make fun of people in the front row. Now, that's stand-up comedian culture. I get that. Like, if you sit in the front row, you can expect that someone's going to say something about you. But let me say this. When I sit in the front row, when the comedians start talking stuff and they'll say stuff about me, I got a story. Maybe you'll have time and I can share it with you, which is a very interesting story. I first and foremost said, "Hey, man, not tonight. Tonight's not your night, bro, because I do this too. So I think you should just finish your routine." That's what I tell people. It happened with me at the Bill Bellamy show, Ryan Davis show. I said, "Hey, man, man, I do this too. I think you should just finish your routine." And I laugh at their jokes, and every day they, look at this guy, and then they just move on because they don't want their set disrupted.
And another thing that I heard also is, what's that white woman comedian, Amy something?
Amy Schumer.
Word on the street, she one who wrote she wrote that joke about Jada in the G.I. Jane. Word on the street that's what the word on the street, that's what I've been hearing.
What's the word on the street? What now?
Amy wrote that joke.
Amy Schumer wrote the joke.
She wrote the joke.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, that joke was not part of the practice run, as they say. I'm not sure if Chris Rock just improvised that joke, but that was not part of the original run up. And where was Amy wrote that joke?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And Amy Schumer is coming to the defense of Chris Rock, and people are like, Precious said, "Hey, you need to stay out of this, Karen." And listen, white women, listen, melanin deficient women, you need to stay out.
When in the history of them do they ever stay out of anything? That's why I'm like, you have to, even if you explain to them why they shouldn't, they're still going to. Yeah, they can't resist.
All right, so let's skip on. So let's talk about Jada, because I'm glad you brought that up with asked about Jada. Yes, and why we never asked about her. But the question I have is, why is Jada being held responsible for the events that took place? I'm lost. Because for real, there's people who say that Jada
from the implication is that she controls him, and that she shot him a look because he was laughing at first, and he's like, "Oh boy, I better do something because my wife's angry," and that's why he went up and did. It doesn't make sense, but I guess she practices mind control, hypnotism.
That sounds like some deep stuff. That sounds like some deep stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, So I've been seeing a lot. Yeah, a lot of people using whatchamacallit. A lot of people saying Jada is to blame for everything that's taken place with the entanglement and all. It fucked Will up in his head. Although I'm trying to figure out what the entanglement got to do with that, because that to me I call that an isolated incident. That ain't got nothing to do with the Oscars. That had nothing to do with that boy.
I mean, because we can find many women that Will done slept with in an open marriage. You feel me?
We can find. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they Ryan just had the difference between Will and Jada's situation, that Jada didn't have all the signed non-disclosure agreement. That's the only difference that I see here.
And didn't he meet Jada before he was divorced from his other wife, Sherry? So
oh yeah, that's her name.
Yeah.
It was her first wife. I forgot. It's over the edge. I couldn't keep my mind to it.
Yep. So it's just, they need to apply the same thing they apply to her to him. But I mean, people refuse to think that people can have an open marriage. So someone has to be vilified.
Someone got to be the villain.
And I feel like there is a demographic that's not going to be happy until they're divorced, and they're trying to push that, and they will use every excuse and every discussion to, you need to get rid of Jada. You need to get rid of Jada, not acknowledging the fact that they're in an open marriage. They have 2 kids together. They've built whatever together. So it's their marriage. We don't have to lay down with Jada or Will. So.
And I'm trying to figure, and that's why I have to ask Black women. Come here, I've seen a lot of Black women. Black women, what did you expect Jada to do? So a lot of y'all thinking that she should have been a barrier and block him for getting up. But if what y'all say is true, he just got up on impulse. That means she probably didn't expect him to get up either.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I guess
say something for me. If he got up on impulse and went up to smack him, and nobody was prepared to see that, was she prepared to think he was going to slap him?
That's the reason why I said we so concentrated on 2 Black men, because that's how we work. That's how patriarchy works. You feel me?
Yes, it is.
That we don't get to hear from Jada. Mm-hmm. Now, listen. One of the reasons why I don't go around punching people and slapping people, it's not the top reason. It's probably like 3 or 4. Main reason why is because I ain't trying to go to jail, the hospital, or the morgue. Can't be just out here putting hands on people based on what they say to you in today's real world. Like, that's real. Is this when I'm with a significant other, if I act violently like that, and I know a lot of women who think this way, I don't think that impresses a woman in a positive way. I think for a lot of women, it'd be like, this Negro's crazy. Like, what is he doing? He's putting us in jeopardy. Number one, you risking going to the jail, the morgue, or the hospital and taking yourself away from our relationship, number one. So it's kind of like you're unpredictable. But number 2 is, when is it going to be me that's the target? When am I going to say something that you don't like, and then you're going to flash on me and slap me like you slapped Chris Rock? That's what I always think. when it comes to being super violent, over aggressive, unpredictable around, you know, women's significant others, because they'd be like, when am I next? I may be wrong. Precious and Trisha, as women who have been in relationships with men, I would like to hear y'all feedback on that.
Yeah.
For the most part, we never had that situation where a man offended me at any time either. Like for the most
wow.
For the most time,
I must be unlucky.
I guess I'm a very lucky person, but I do have I have family members in my family who defended me against other males. Yes, I have had that. But other than that, in terms of in my personal relationships, when me and him went out, there was no man that approached us or tried to disrespect me at any time. I'm not sure because the guy I was with looked it threatening or not. They didn't look threatening to me, and they didn't go around starting shit. Neither did I.
But would you? I mean, but like, how would you feel like if you was in a relationship with a dude who just whatever they said to you and then became looks? If he felt the look was disrespectful, if the
it just went off without warning.
And he just starts slapping people and punching people. Like, how would you feel?
I probably would be stunned, especially because I probably wouldn't be expecting that shit. I'm like, huh? I probably what's going on here? I would definitely be stunned and shocked for a minute.
But is that you'd be stunned and shocked, but is that a good thing or a bad thing or a neutral thing for your relationship?
Depending on where we at, probably more likely to be a bad thing. I wish my damn thing. That's probably more of a bad thing.
It would or wouldn't be.
It would be a bad thing if it's just over little shit.
Yeah, that's the thing, but it usually doesn't happen just over little things. I have had a couple of instances, and one I ended up breaking up with a guy because I was so upset that he didn't defend me. And this was like we were at a nightclub, and this is down in LA. We're in a nightclub, and this guy, and we're the only Black people in this nightclub, which probably he shouldn't have taken me there. But anyway, this white guy comes over and starts screaming at me that I'm a orangutan whore and all this. And he's screaming like right here, and that my ancestors could have, and all this. And he stood there and he said nothing. And so I had to be Miss Angry, aggressive Black woman and get back in his face. Like, if you don't get my dad played with fast, he can get somebody to kill you. And then he left. And then I turned to my boyfriend at the time. I'm like, this guy he's like, yeah, he was bigger than me. So I'm like, so you just left me hanging out here? And I had no problem screaming at him and saying stuff to scare him. You couldn't even say anything to scare him. Yeah, but he was bigger than me. And so I remember that ride in the car back in my brain. I'm like, I'm getting rid of this guy. I can't count on you. I can't count on you to protect me ever. You won't even use words to protect me. And then
that's a whole different situation. Hey, he would have been touching everything in that club. I would at least. And
he's like, "Oh, there were all those white people there. What did you expect me to do?
Hey,
and then don't bring me to a place."
Hey, Trisha, I might need some help, but come on, let's do this. Come on, let's do this.
I know we could have done them together or something, but
that right there
was the most made him the zero sex appeal after that. No, I don't ever want to see you again. And conversely, had he done at least pretend like you're going to punch somebody, you can run or something, had he at least pretended to care about my protection, then that would have been attractive. So when it's instances when somebody's coming up in your face and threatening a woman, those kinds of things, then yeah, you want someone to protect you. Like a joke, I don't care about. But those kinds of things, you want someone to have your back.
Yeah, you had to get rid of that dude.
I have been. I'll put it this way: I have been in different countries before with a woman I was dating. Hey, let me go to the cash machine real quick. Mm-hmm. So we cool when us is walking together. You feel me? I go to the cash machine, and then I come back. She was like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're back." I'm like, "Why?" Man, when you left, All these guys start coming up, talking to me, hey, trying to get my attention, this, that, and the third. It wasn't like that when I was walking aside with you. Been other places, going to places in the United States. I'm so glad that you walked up, while we're in the store, because these guys were looking at me and they were about to approach me and say something. They saw you walk up and then they didn't say anything. Like, that's what you want. You want preventative stuff. I don't think a woman wants someone like, oh, they said they was gonna, where they at? Where they at?
I think everybody knows there's just some women who are very aggressive. Like that. Most of us don't want that because we know those type of situations can turn really ugly really fast. So yeah, most of us with a brain know we don't want to walk around starting shit or want to fight unnecessarily. But we just want to know, hey, if someone went through what Trisha went through, hell yeah, I want you there. Hell yeah, I want you there. This kind of makes me bring up this question though for the black women.
Go ahead.
With this rhetoric that we say, let's say Will Smith was defending or protecting, however we want to look at it. So black women, we have to ask ourselves: do we want to be protected and defended by black men all the time, or just some of the time?
I've heard from several black women that it is the duty of the black man to protect the black woman at all times. I've even heard black women say, protect black women all the time, and it will, accomplish the assignment.
But yeah, that's a question I think we need to ask ourselves, because I've been seeing a lot of, that's another thing I want to talk about. I saw a lot of black women condemning Jada and hold her accountable for what happened, which it's kind of just strange to me, because if a lot of black women were looking at that as Will defending his wife or protecting his wife, however you want to look at it. And of course, I saw a lot of black women push back, say they didn't like what Will did and they didn't like it, whatever. And some even kind of blame Jada for being part of it. But from a patriarchal standpoint, a lot of people feel that a woman shouldn't have to defend a man if her man's right next to her. When it comes to another man trying to offend her or whatever.
Well, a lot of it is a paternal relationship.
It is got to do the paternal.
That some people think that women should have to men. And what I mean by that is sometimes when black men specifically are deemed the protector and provider of black women, it's like now they get to reduce them to a child. And that's where I think there's a thin line between protecting and providing for a grown person and protecting, providing for a child. Because when we go out, there should be a plan, some kind of undisclosed plan, or overt plan of like how we gonna get down out here. Like, I like to have plans, even when we get pulled over for law enforcement. I don't want people in the car that's gonna act stupid and risk that I'm gonna catch a hot one. Like, hey man, what are you doing? Like, stop. And I don't like to go out with people who always is looking for a fight. So I agree. Plan. Like, if I'm in a relationship with you, I'm in a relationship with you as two adults. You're not my child. We're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna have nonverbal cues. We're gonna have stuff that happened to Trish where it's gonna be like, nah, bro, we gonna both get down. And y'all know how I come at it. I come at it very simplistically. Like, I got 2 sons and a daughter. Those are my children, but they're adults. If someone does something to my daughter, to a certain degree, I'm throwing gender out the box, man. That's my child. You're catching these hands or whatever it is. Like, back up. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I have a problem with black men always having to protect and provide for a black woman like she's a child. She's not a child. That's a woman.
I'm sorry. I think that's mostly from black women that didn't necessarily have their father involved providing for them, then they have that expectation because they haven't addressed that as an adult. But those of us that had our fathers actively involved, we realized that, a father provides differently than a mate or your partner. So, yeah, there are different ways to provide, even in terms of like my family members. My male cousins protect me in different ways than a partner would, or that my father would as well. So that's why it's important to have a strong village around you, family, as well as a dad to parent your Black daughters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think when we're talking about this, it goes the other way too. Like if I'm going out and my significant other or the woman I'm in a relationship with, I mean, I have, heteronormatives. I don't know what to tell you. I date women, and a woman is, there's two things. A woman is showing me too much attention, and she's got an attitude and she's getting aggressive, like, what you looking at? Like, why does she keep looking at you? Like, that's a red flag for me. Like, chill, relax. I got this. You know what I'm saying? We got this. And then if someone's like making fun of me or saying whatever, I got that too. Because I don't want her just going and fighting everybody because she feels that her ego or her placement with me is being threatened. That's not sexy to me. That comes off as impulsive, and that comes off as you're risking our freedom, that we're not going to be able to spend time with each other. That's how I see it. I'd rather us like come up with a plan there and then go home and talk about, how we were a great team. Unless it's something like Trisha said, like, of course, that's like, hey man, like I'm gonna put some distance between, us. Like, but I haven't had that happen before. But I have been in a situation with my grown daughter where it's gotten violent. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? With the male. So I know what it's like, but it's like a last resort. And I don't think it's sexy when someone in your family just wants to fight everybody because they're offended for you.
Yeah. I mean, I overcorrected. That was also a youth thing. So I said 2 instances. There was another where I went out with a guy who thought everyone was looking at me, but he pulled out a gun at one point, and I'm like, I didn't even know he had a gun. He's like, look at her again, look at her again. And it was like, and because after the other experience, I thought this will be great. I'll have a guy who's gonna, and then you go to the other extreme, and you're in that car ride thinking, I gotta end this.
Yeah.
Trisha, you got some hell of a stories. I ain't never,
that was unfortunately.
Thank good of the men I've dated was not problematic like that. That guy that was never problematic. Except for that first ex. The other men I've been with beside my first ex, I wouldn't have bothered if something would have happened that they got it. I wasn't too worried about it. But luckily in my experience, I never had nobody do that.
LA and New Orleans.
I had nobody do that.
I mean, who wants to hear those 5 words? I can't take you anywhere. That's you know what I'm saying? That's
But here's a question I wanted to ask though. Here's one of the questions I want to ask. How come is verbal words is seen just as violent as physical?
I think because of social media nowadays it is. I think words are seen as violent. Yeah.
I think they always have. I think words have always been violent.
Did playing the dozens in school end up in lots of fights for you? Because for us, it was just laugh and then the bell rang and you went.
Yeah.
Cats
really? Wow.
Cats was fighting in the community in the hood where I'm from over words. You can't talk about no one's mama. You talk about someone's mom, it's
exactly. And that's why they say those are. That's that little saying. Those are fighting words. That's an understatement. Those are fighting words.
But does it make a difference if a white person is in the room? Because some of the people that I saw that were upset about it, it's like, oh, that's uncivilized and they shouldn't have done that in front of them. Like, so it would have been okay. If it was BET Awards, it would have been fine.
And that's the respectability politics I want to touch down to. That was my last segment. That was my last one. That I saw a lot of Black people saying that, oh, well, this ain't the social war. Y'all shouldn't be doing that at Oscars for one of the white people. Y'all made Will Smith made us Black people look bad as a community. First of all, let me just go ahead and say this: white people ain't never need a reason to marginalize Black people at any time. Their racial bias has always been cemented the moment they deemed us as 3/4 of a human. So I'm gonna need y'all to just cut that out. That had nothing to do regardless. Because my thing is this. Why you feel you have to be civilized in front of white people? You don't have the same mentality for your own people.
Right.
We're in the same space as your own people. That means you faking the funk yourself. You mean tell me you like to cosplay being a good Negro for these white people, but yet you come back to your own community and play a white oppressor there. Mm-hmm. That don't make no sense to me. So how you playing to me? If you want to talk about quote unquote a classy person, look here, a classy person, no matter where they at. No matter where they at. I don't think you should supposed to change your whole character of who you are. Granted, it is a time like how you hang out with your friends is probably not how you be with your parents. But the feel that you have to be on your best behavior in white spaces. We're still doing this?
Yeah. Well, I understand what you're saying, and I understand what those people are saying is because we do act a different way when we go to work. Then, as opposed to when we're more casual when we go to the bowling alley or we're doing recreational stuff with the family. And they were at work. They were literally at work. So I do understand, like, that's not how you act at work, whether it's good or bad or neutral. That is true. We have been taught that that's not the correct decorum and etiquette and the way you're supposed to act at work. Will Smith and Chris Rock and everyone in that venue were at work. Especially Will accepting an award and Chris Rock being one of the presenters. They were at work. At work, you're supposed to accept a joke at work and then tell HR. You're not supposed to smack someone at work. You're supposed to tell HR. So I get it. But one thing we haven't talked about is Chris Rock. If you smack me, I get that we're at work. I got the mic, and I'm telling you, homie, you're gonna have to see me after the show. That's real talk. And it's gonna happen. And I'm telling everyone that I got the mic, if you run, then you know what I'm saying, parents just don't understand, I guess. I'm gonna beat the summertime out of you. For real. I'm gonna try my hardest. You're not gonna just smack me. Oh, man.
His brother might be able to beat him up, but I don't think Chris Rock Tony could. But...
Hey, he can pay someone to beat him up. How about that?
Yeah, I'm sure his brother would do it for free.
Yeah. What else you got? I mean, y'all want to go into the Planet X because that was I think that was the last thing I wanted to say. If I was Chris Rock, what I have done.
You've been like meet.
What's that?
You've been like meet.
Meet.
That little punch.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
I think he's sad though. I mean, I still think it's sad that there's something going on with Will, and it's been lost. Like more, the Academy's thinking of punitive measures and all this, but there's something seriously wrong. And if we're witnessing someone having a nervous breakdown, because this isn't, I don't want to say normal behavior. It's out of character if you haven't read his book. For him.
And now you're gonna maybe read a book. I'm gonna try to go because I need to guide on my kids.
That's why people were saying it was staged.
That'd be real crazy if that was staged. Like that'd be the best.
Chris Rock's ticket sales then boomed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Before we go into plan of action, I think the real question is: do you think Will is going to lose his Oscar over this, or do people saying that Will Smith's career is over? I don't personally think it's over at all. Will Smith been in the game over 30 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know he had been because I'm 31 and Will Smith been out since the early 90s. So I know he had to be in the game at least going on 30 years. I think he'd be just fine. Chris Rock gonna be just fine. He just kicked off his whole comedy tour in Boston. It was today, so they are going to be just fine. I wouldn't be surprised they probably talked on the phone in the past 3 days. While everybody arguing on social media about who's right and who's wrong, something tell me they probably already talked on the phone already.
Yeah. People were thinking that Chris Rock issued an apology, but that it was fake. I wouldn't apologize either. I got slapped in the face. There it is. That's my consequence. That's my punishment. But here's one thing I want to ask before we go to the plan of action. And I already said that it doesn't matter if everyone else thought the joke was mean or not. Someone posted on my timeline. It says on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the meanest it can be, and 1 being it wasn't that bad of a joke. What do you rate the joke? And I wrote in the comments, it doesn't matter what we rate it. It matters what Jada rates it.
That is true.
Now, how did it impact her? However, let me ask you this question: if we take out G.I. Jane and we put in, well, she looked like one of the women's out of Black Panther from Wakanda, do you think it would have the same impact?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably.
I do.
I'm hearing for some reason like there's been a little history between Jada and Chris Rock over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, if you really wanted to avoid that particular slap from happening, Chris Rock just was better off just skipping them and going to the next person.
You might be right, because one of my dear and close friends, one of my closest friends is Jamie Elmore, and she has alopecia and she has a bald head. And I remember, and she used to help out with the grill party real good. We're really good friends. And I remember one time she said, "Can't no one call me bald headed but you." Or I'm one of the only people that can call her bald headed. And I didn't think bald headed was something that was mean, because she's bald. And she said that she would catch offense by it if someone else said it. So that's that's why when it comes to alopecia, I understand what it's about. But I feel like that extends to people like LeBron James that we clown all the time for his receding hairline and going bald. We give Kevin Durant and many men the business for going bald, something that they can't control. They can't control going bald. So I'm just saying, like, this sets a precedence for, like, we can't really talk about receding hairlines, because that's a common thing that a lot of people, specifically women, make fun of men about, saying I'm being hatfish. You heard of catfish? Well, there's catfish too, where you wearing a hat to cover up the baldness, and you meet them in public, like, take off your hat, take off your beanie, and you find out they're bald. See, now people don't even want to laugh no more, because it's like, damn.
Well,
and I also think for Black women, hair has a particular significance in terms of being controlled.
I don't think men see baldness the same way us women do.
Oh no, they don't. I
don't think we do it, because I think for all women, especially as Black, our hair literally is our crown. So
and it's mocked continually. It's mocked all the time. If you have hair, people laugh. If you don't have hair, people are laugh, particularly Black women, and the different ways. I mean, it's even been controlled in terms of we have to wrap it up. You can't get it. So for us, it means something that Chris knew because of his documentary about good hair. So that's also another aspect that made it a little problematic, but considering if he's somewhere on the spectrum, he probably wouldn't connect the fact that you made a whole documentary about this, and yet you're making this joke about her. And they could have also made the joke about Willow, but that would have been in poor taste, because Willow also had shaved, and she was there too as well.
Yeah, she had that really classic song, "I whip my head back and forth."
And now that you said it, kind of made me wonder if he didn't direct the joke at Jada, but at Will he have snapped?
Or Willow. Yeah, because Willow's hair is also almost bald.
I mean, in other words, he just cracked a joke on him instead of her.
Oh, maybe, yeah. I mean,
I'm saying,
Yeah.
because word was Chris Rock been giving Jada the business on the Oscars ever since they've been boycotted. Which I was surprised people still watching the Oscars because I thought we've been boycotting. But yeah,
yeah.
We watch now.
I think the biggest disrespect about Chris Rock's documentary Good Hair is how you going to have a documentary and not even mention Madam C.J. Walker. I was like, what is wrong with you, dude? What is wrong with you?
Yeah,
But I will
that's
say,
true.
a woman losing her hair is unique than and different than a man, specifically a black man losing his hair. But I will say, in just growing up around men, it's highly devastating when men lose their hair, though. It really is bad. And if you really, really want to do a low blow and get a brother in a rank off or a put down contest, and they bald and their hairline's receding or something, man, talk about that. Man, it's bad, man. I'm telling you, it's bad. It's one of those things that it might as well be a medical condition because they can't control it either. Like, I'm going bald. I don't know what's happening. I'm 23 years old. Why am I going bald?
yeah.
All these jokes like stop taking testosterone, the steroids you taking, blah blah blah.
I always thought balding was kind of hereditary.
What's up?
Just like kind of
No.
Yeah, I heard it's from the mother's side of the family. That's what I've heard.
come here with your bald head. Oh, that's all. I should have laughed at that. I should have laughed at
And you know what? You know why?
Milk.
See?
Oh no.
I'm about to get in trouble. You about to get reported.
Oh no. I just got out of jail. I can't have Facebook jail.
Man, I just got out of Facebook jail. You did. My brother just got out of Facebook jail. We should get thrown to jail lately.
But here's the deal before we go to the plan of action. But here's the deal. Because in black people's communities and black families, the shape of your head and the size of your head is really important. It could be, because some people go bald and black people be looking like. There are black people who massage the heads of their babies when they're younger so they can turn out a certain shape.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's real talk.
Yeah, they shake the head. Yes.
Yeah. So when someone goes bald and their stuff looks like an egg, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to get that. You know what I'm saying? So they trying to keep as much hair as possible. It really doesn't bother me. I got a pack of hot links in the back. So if I ever, and I got rolls on the top of my head too, because I've been cutting my hair and I messed up and then I have to cut everything bald. And I show up to a meeting, outreach meeting, and be like, oh man, the Clipper guys must have fell out. Look at you. You got a pack of hot links on the top of your head and the back of your neck. I'm like, God dang it, I can never go bald. I can never go bald. And I always get compliments on my hair. Oh, you still got your hairline. And I always thought about, what if it was the opposite? I probably would be I would be hurt, man. I would be hurt, man. If I was going, I would be hurt. If I was going bald, even at 47, I would be hurt. I'd be like, damn, because I've gotten so many compliments. I've been conditioned to that attention. Like, you do a good job. Must be because you brushing your hair so much and really, stimulating those hair follicles. You know what I'm saying? So,
never mind. Go ahead. I was gonna ask a stupid question.
Go ahead and ask it, and then we can get to the plan of action.
But I'm wondering, because you're talking about hairline, I'm wondering now. I want to do. Is it common for people to lose their hair or their hairline if they have a high forehead? So I'm looking at yours and mine. We don't have much of a forehead. Have you have like short foreheads? Like even yours, you got a short forehead too.
Short.
I envy girl with big forehead because they wear wigs so easy and so beautifully. I said, man, I wish I had a big forehead.
I got a big ass forehead. I think a lot of times, I think black people in general, and I think that's what, if I can remember correctly, that's what Chris Rock was talking about in his documentary. We're just really hard on our hair because we've been conditioned to assimilate. Like, we be messing up our edges. Women know about that. We be making these braids and the braids be too tight. Come on, man. There's so much culture and commentary around what we do to our hair. That could be a whole segment in itself. and we really damage our hair a lot with the dyes and stuff we put in our hair and the chemicals and the heat. You know what I'm saying? And brothers know about that too. It's gonna come. You know what? Conks is gonna come back, and and Hawaiian silkies, all those chemicals that brothers used to put in their hair. If you watch the movie Malcolm X with Denzel in it, it shows him back in the day, and you put that dye in that lye in your hair too long, and he was putting his head in the toilet because it was burning his scalp. We're really, really, really violent towards our hair and our hairlines and our scalp and all that. So I can see why it would be really, of course, I can see why it'd be really, really sensitive for a black male or female when you start to talk about their hair loss. And I will say this to end it and go into the plan of action. Jada Pinkett looked fine regardless to me. That is
honestly, at first it kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it did throw me off. I'm always used to seeing Jada with a pixie or very very short hairstyle, but the bald head of hers grew on me. I think it looks lovely. She got a nice bone structure for it.
You look good. She's always good.
It looks good on her though. I thought she looked nice at the grand. I mean, I felt the dress was so big. I know me and Jada like the same height, so it's like, man, that train is kind of look like it's so big for her, but it was a nice dress nonetheless. She did look nice.
Right. Yeah. All right. So, what's the plan of action, real quick? Oh, I jumped off of you real quick. What's the plan? I'll go first, real quick. Okay. I say the plan of action is to have conversations with your significant other of the best ways to protect them and defend their honor, and what's appropriate and what's is cool for their comfort. Like, because the stakes are really high when you leave outside your house and you're in public, or even when you have family over. That's one of the things I will say. Like, I didn't feel defended, protected, by the woman I was married with when it came to my in-laws or her side of the family. And I feel like it was something we always talked about, and it was like it was disregarded. It was dismissed. You know what I mean? It's like, she didn't know how to protect me when it came to her parents and her family. And I always felt disrespected. But on the flip end, it's like, don't talk about the woman I'm married with. And it's like, you already know, don't do that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think the plan of action for me is that I know is have those conversations of like, what are your triggers? What your significant other, how they want to be protected and how they want to be defended. Like, if you really expect me to be going up beside someone's head every time they look at you a certain way or they flirt with you, you know what I'm saying? They touch you, that's a different thing. You know what I'm saying? But if you really want me to be that super, you know what I'm saying, toxic, masculine, hyper masculine person, I might not be your guy. Because it sounds like we're going to be getting in fights a lot. Are we just going to have a whole bunch of, you know what I'm saying, Netflix and chill nights then? Because we're not going to be going out in public because the expectations is too much. That day, and I got to take self-defense classes. I got to get a gun. Like, it's too much. If you expect me to be going upside so many people's head, like what Trisha was talking about, and some women expect that, like, treat me like a child. No, we're both adults. We got to be able to walk away from this, and our objective when we go out is to get home safe and talk about, man, how proud we are that we work good as a team, that we can come home and enjoy it. I don't want to be sitting in a jail cell thinking I could be at home loving on my woman and then worrying about who is. It could be the guy that I was trying to fight. You know what I'm saying? And she felt sympathy for him. Like, why you beat him up like that? I feel so bad. And while you're in jail serving your time, I think I want to go back to him. See, there you go. What y'all think? What's y'all plan of action?
Well, my plan of action is this. I'm going to speak for a Black woman perspective. I think us as Black women, we have to figure out what does protect and defend look for us. I think that's what it is. I think many Black women have never been protected or defended, whether it's by their lover or men in their families or friends. That I think many don't know what it can or should look like. So I think Black women need to I think women need to really dig in and see what she wants that to look like, or what she think it's supposed to look like. I think that need to be done, because a lot of, so I know there's a lot of black women say, "Oh, they ain't had a way to defend." Look here, I can tell you on here, the males in the Bennett family have done down over me before.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because it was something like starting mess. No, something really happened. They threw down for me throughout the course of my life. So can say I am, as a black woman, I'm very proud, and can luckily can say I have black men defended for me. I have, whether it's verbally or unfortunately physically. But it wasn't because something I started or any of us started. It's just something that unfortunately happened. And another thing, we have to realize how we play as a role as the public when we see celebrities have a falling out or have a breakdown in front of us on national TV. Well, we're quick to call somebody toxic. Like, I see people calling Jada the toxic one, or calling Will Smith the toxic one, whatever. Honestly, I think the real toxic people is really us, the public. I think we are really the toxic ones. And the reason why I say that is because we are the one creating these memes. We are the one making these little remix songs, pretty much mocking whatever happened in their relationship or their marriage. We are the ones doing that, not them. So if we don't want to see this toxicity to continue, we need to look at ourselves and make sure we're not adding to that toxicity.
Right. That's great.
And that's pretty much my point of action. I mean, I think the Smiths would be just fine. I think they don't. I think while we still talking, they done turned the corner already. And Chris Rock, I know his jaw probably was sore for a minute, because getting slapped any time can get hurt. I'm pretty sure it can hurt. And he's going on to his tour. So I think that's it.
Yeah, Kevin, I need someone to slap him next.
Yeah, and a lot of people think, I had to ask.
I'm sorry.
Do you think what happened?
And I like that, man.
Well,
were you talking about
higher tickets? No, I said Kevin. He's gonna need someone to bring those ticket prices up. The double slap.
I forgot to ask you. Do y'all think what happened to Oscar? Do you think how the comedy show is going to be different from here on out? I don't think so. Simply, and the reason why I don't think so, because at a comedian show, he's in full control of everything that's going on. And while celebrities are fans, while celebrities can be fans are not celebrities. So
I got some stories, man, from my time on stage.
But I don't think when you see whole high profile, I don't think they're going to.
And I'm seeing that happen at the workplace at my school. People are cracking jokes and getting smacked now.
Oh no!
I'm
Kids,
I'm not even joking. People was telling jokes in the classroom and getting smacked.
Yep. Well, I'm talking further than high-profile comedians. I think because the fans are there to actually see them and they like their content and their work and their style of comedy, I don't think they're gonna have to worry about no fan rolling up trying to slap them. At least at least for high profile. I'm not talking about those on like smaller venues. I'm talking about them high profiles like the Kevin Hart, the Chris Rock, the Dave Chappelle. I don't think
the 5 fingers to the face. Remember there was a lot of slapping in school.
That's what I wanted to say. You might be right. I think the question is it going to happen? The question is what's going to happen when it does happen?
Right.
Because in the hip hop community, it's kind of similar to the stand-up community, but I will speak on it like that's one thing I forgot to say. If Will had approached the stage, my hip hop culture would have came in. And like, you don't ever walk on stage. You're about to get these hands. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, it's off limits. And you can go and look at footage on YouTube of what happens when you step on a stage, particularly when it comes to hip hop. People get effed up bad. So that kind of culture might transition into comedy, where when you walking on stage, automatically I'm picking up this mic stand and you're gonna get it. You're going to get it.
That is the wild thing. That's
Yeah.
wild
So
because I also think of when was it when John Wayne was trying at the Academy Awards was trying to go up and choke the Native American
Yeah.
woman. They stopped him. So it was like, how did they manage to stop him and stop him from running up to the stage? But they couldn't with Will because that was a
That's
long
correct.
walk. That
Yeah.
was a walk.
And
It
they
took
had
a
the
while.
foolish of it. I'm just sitting there like, how y'all just? But yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that is wild.
which
So-
I was kind of surprised.
like-
You know what? It may be a stage. Cause where was security doing all that?
Oh no.
So what you think?
So
Doc?
I think
What
Carmelita said something that's really good about violence being equated with masculinity and love. I think the same thing in terms of protection, that we're missing, that protection isn't always just reacting with violence. Protection is also providing security, financial security, health security, those other things. So that would be nice to receive instead of automatically thinking, okay, I'm defending your honor. No, you're also defending our relationship and family by protecting the security of making sure financially we're okay. If something happens to you or to me, that the other person's going to be okay. So that is also an important piece in terms of protection. Also, that to remember that, you know, Black people, regardless, we tend to look at people with money and think they don't have problems, like the money will solve everything. Clearly, all three of them are going through things. So money doesn't matter, and saying that, oh, well, they have access to resources. No, there's just as much of a dearth of resources for Black people at every echelon. So that's why we need to have a bit more grace with one another. Yeah, money doesn't mean all your problems are gone. Maybe, yeah, that's also important to remember.
Yeah.
And read Will's book, and you'll understand a lot more. I'm like a
I was
PR
thinking
for
about
his book.
I've been considering getting his book. I haven't read it yet though.
Right, Trish, we can't do that. Read
No.
Will's book and go
I do-
in person. How about that?
Maybe we'll get a sponsorship.
Oh man, it's been great. Bobby, I know you out there. Wayman, you were supposed to join us. Man, it's been great. It was great. All three of us. I think we covered all the bases. We hit a home run several times tonight. Hey, let's see you next time. Seed Talk, at least once a week. Check us out. Love y'all. Peace.